like, no, we don't need to fight at all. Let's just sit back, relax. Let's give them this first Punisher here to start things off. And as you said, we are going to get value elsewhere. Earth in the solo lane is always something to be feared.
Yeah, Earth is going to get value with that camp. They're going to be able to put some pressure there. This is an Arcane Punisher. That is a bit of a concern. If Electromad misplays this, we've seen him die once before. They put a little bit of pressure in there, but they don't decide to commit. Didn't have the side wall down, so this Punisher will get some value, but I don't really think anybody from the side of Laval decides to stick around enough that they go down.
Yeah, but Roger that's going to look to go in here. Electromad needs to be careful if they can jump. There's the slide as well. Electromad's going to charge him out. Nice dodge onto the root there. Actually pushing Roger that out of position. The Arcane Punisher's going to fall. Kwanzaa is now the target of Wuka as well. Getting lots of nice damage, but Going is going to retreat as well. Looking to take down that fort in the meanwhile. And Laval, despite losing an early kill, despite losing those early camps, they are still sitting ahead in terms of experience right now. And this is the Laval we've come to expect.
No kill conversion off the objective. You had an opportunity, the second jump came in, maybe you get the Diablo, but that's going to start to become more and more difficult as Electromad builds up souls, so that would have probably, a lesser team would have fallen to that play. Laval will not give you that opportunity. So now that they're ahead in experience after giving first objective, we are going to see them show up to the next fight.
They are very likely going to fight here as we see them move in on to the siege camp. The vision coming in, Electromad, nice disengage the face melt though. Keep Peekaboo alive, but this is Laval looking to go aggressive, but it is going on the flank as well, forced in the back. The collapse is coming in. There's the power slide connecting onto two. Harry Blob is the target. Sukov trying to get out as well, but it is, going to be Kwanzaa stepping too far forward though. He's getting chunked, but Electromad, the body blocks coming up from Roger that. These brothers are going
more damage though.
Roger back stepping too far forward. He's going to be able to get himself out of there. It is a nice phase shift coming out from Nesdip, able to get himself out of there. That is what they needed. Both sides scrapping, but neither getting that kill.
Kentucky needed a little bit more damage, also needed slightly more health bars because of just the way that rotation came through and the angle that they were able to catch Kwanzaa at. And then we started to see Malfurion take a bunch of damage from that Tassadar just being slow beamed to death, as Protoss like to do. So good response from Kentucky because of how quickly they were willing to rotate on that camp, but Laval was one step ahead. The moment they went on to Harry Blob, the whole team was ready to stop that from turning into anything else.
Laval really shows that when push comes to shove, they can shove right back. Kentucky, with what looked like a beautiful collapse, turned on its head by Laval. And despite some amazing bloody blocks coming out from Roger that, they just were not able to convert it there. And level 10 is just around the corner here for the side of Laval. They are looking so strong here in this mid game, despite what looked like it could have been a deficit for them. They have rallied and recovered beautifully.
Yeah, experience is pretty much evened out. There hasn't really been that much of a problem. Looking at some of the Talon School, Dan didn't actually go with Echoed Corruption. I didn't catch that at first. It's got to be the Felflame stacking, so that's going to take a little bit while before that really comes into effect. ETC is working on the Frog Rock, so it'll be a little while before those are valuable for Kentucky. So maybe we see around a 13 spike moment for them. In the meantime, Laval is starting to get back into the swing of things.
Nesdip?
Okay.
Questionable. He just likes to throw down some force walls. It's totally fine. Just making sure it's
safety wall. Safety wall.
Yes.
Safety first.
That's safety first. Don't forget. But it is level 10 for each side right now, as we are seeing pretty standard heroics coming in. However, Malfurion is holding his for the moment. That could be interesting.
I mean, we've seen the value in Tranquility. We've seen the value in Twilight Dream. Might be looking for a shot. Okay, that was probably a debate. It was probably a team conversation about around what they wanted to take. Otherwise, he would be holding it until the moment he needed it. So they decided they want more of the sustain. They want to be able to use that as a minor disengage, be able to step back, heal up. Even on the skeletal defenders, but we start to see the APOC. It's gonna catch a lot of them.
That is the arrow into the APOC. We have the bunker going down in the front, but very healthy is the side of Kentucky throughout all this. The Tranquility is coming in. We're healing them up nicely, so the combo comes in from Laval, not letting themselves any kills to start this off. This is Kentucky weathering the storm, but it is Zabutak now the front line. Watch for this, though. Still many heroics up for the side of Kentucky. They're going in. They found the root on Electromad. He's the target to stun the fall. The damage there. Can they sustain? And that is the peel. The Horrify coming in. Kwanzaa bolts is trading 1-for-1. Zabutak. So
they're so low.
Wuka with the damage, the flank, the spin, the silence on Going. He could do absolutely nothing. And it is Laval with 3 convincing kills there. Beautifully done. Kentucky was so close.
They used everything they needed to make the play, but Mosh Pit got wasted. Bunker went down without them really being in that much trouble. The Tranquility got them back up to full, but they were only really at half. So a little bit of miscoordination from Kentucky, and then Laval's like, no, Diablo is a bait. Diablo is entirely a bait. We're going to wipe the entire team because the angles came in from Wuka. He was able to get over the wall and cut off the retreat. It all came together for Laval in an instant. But that is just how impressive this team is to be able to change gears when they need to.
Kwanzaa could have been a game-winning Horrify there in that situation, but the team just couldn't quite follow up. They committed so many resources onto the Diablo, and Laval was like, that's totally fine. We will find your backline. That silence got so much value, the Lurking Arm coming in as well. There's a reason they prioritized the Stukov so much. We've seen the prowess of Laval with that hero, and now it is 13-12, a level and a half lead from Laval, and this is where they're comfy.
Yeah, but this is not that big of an issue for Kentucky, assuming they can find a little bit of good macro play, slow it down from them just a little bit so that they can find themselves 13 before they really pick a fight. This might be a little ambitious to be that far forward with how good Electromad is on this Diablo. So just be a little concerned. I wouldn't walk past that wall. They were inching towards like maybe we can sneak in and throw some damage in, mess with them on the camp, but it's not really worth it.
Because of course, Electromad's always going to be a threat, but you add Nesdip into the situation, he's like, well, Diablo needs a wall to Shadow Charge Metaster's like, hi, we know I can do that. Hello, I would like to join in on this party. As now level 13 going to be here for Kentucky in just a second. They have this even talents here. They can fight. They're not so far behind here in game number 2. They have managed to keep Laval back. And we know that when prompted, given the opportunity, they can take these kills.
We've seen this before.
He's going to go in. There's the mosh pit, but the APOC can cancel it out as well with Dragon Arrow being wasted a little bit. ETC is the target, though. Roger that's trying to sustain through as well. The bunker getting great value, but it is going. Oh, the Horrify as well. The target there, but nice Tranquility, able to sustain through this as well. Bunker hopping as they do. Kentucky survives, sustains, survives all the way through this. And now they have 13 to boot. That was actually really nice from them.
Yeah, that was a really good way to disengage. Once they realized they weren't going to be able to put the pressure on the Harry Blob, they were looking for the optimal target. It is the Stukov. He is the easiest for them to pick off. But with Go going on the bottom half of the fight, they come in from the top with Zabatek, they get that stun, but then there's nothing else to get in there because Diablo is still putting pressure on to Go going. He needs to be able to jump in the bunker. He almost went down. Had he been dropped there, Laval would have put pedal to the metal and continued to chase.
I have to say, Zabutak has been playing so beautifully here in game number 2. These bunkers, the way they've been splitting the fight, giving his team an avenue to retreat, and also sort of forcing Laval into these different positions, these have been so critical, so crucial for them in order to survive through the hyper-aggression that Laval is able to bring to the table. These combos, though, the Dragon Arrow. Oh, Earth! That was not the bush, dear sir! That was the Curse Bullet almost finding that. If they had one piece of CC there, that would have been a very dead Sonya.
I mean, the CC was standing forward. They were looking to be able to body off, to be able to protect them while they stole away that camp. Good take for them. They're going to be able to put a little bit more pressure up in the top lane. Somebody's going to have to deal with that Bruiser camp. Sonya will be able to because it's on the backside of the port, but still, it's showing the proactiveness. It's showing that they're not afraid of Laval, and they just kind of have to keep it up.
Well, they have to do it now in particular because once again, they want to find a fight before 16. I feel like deja vu. This is game number 1 all over again. And Laval so close to level 16, they are soaking multiple lanes, able to get that here in just a second. So they will have an advantage going in here, but Kentucky is going to try and find as many skeletal defenders as they can in the meantime.
Yep, start things up. They'll get themselves an easy 10. Sonya has rotated down much sooner, so the moment 16 comes in, Laval is going to start to move into the objective.
They are going to look to the flank. It is Electromad. Go going has been...
Oh, no!
Deleted! It's Gul'dan! Roger that on full retreat. The stun is not nearly enough. Electromad has done his job. Gul'dan! Where'd you go?
Ooh, that was executed so cleanly. And that's all it took. 2 heroics. 3 heroics. I didn't realize Sonya popped the Wrath of Berserker. 3 heroics. Win them the objective. Instant destruction. We get to look at this again.
Watch this again. Identifying the target. Watch the health bars just evaporate here. And that was just insanity coming in from Laval. Identifying a key target, putting pedal to the metal, nail in coffin. And now it is Kentucky very much on the back step.
And we were talking a little bit in the break that if we see Laval come out with this kind of just dominance again, coming back on the reverse sweep for Kentucky, it is going to be hard. I feel they need to start their rallying now. They need to make a good play. It's a Frozen Punisher. You need to be careful with this. You may just need to yield the keep to be able to save the game.
They need to save this keep here. They need to do a lot at this stage in the game, but they still don't have 16. Roger that, he's going forward. He needs to find the mosh pit of his life right now, but he's just getting chunked. The damage
He's gone!
in the stun, and he has just deleted. The bunker is there, but he's too late to silence the follow-up, and his Electromad in deep, but they're splitting the team beautifully, and that is Malfurion going down as well. The bunker not able to do nearly enough, as it is Laval pushing in here onto the keep. They are on a whole other level, the wall, the charge, and that is going to be another kill. Electromad is going mad. He is taking it to the side of Kentucky. They are pushing in onto the core. Source, that is going to be all she wrote. That is going to be game number 2.
To feel good about that up in Mapletown. We just saw Laval take a decisive 2-0 victory, and they just looked strong from beginning, middle, and end. It looked like anytime Kentucky tried to make a play, they were holding out a pair of scissors because they got rocked.
There was one moment at the start of the game where we saw life from Kentucky. They came into that game, they found the pickoff on Diablo, what they were looking for, but Laval just showed how calm and collected they are. They gave up the next shrine and just completely reset the game. Said, this is how we're going to play. We're going to go back to our style. We're going to be completely calm and collected. And they just rolled forward from there.
It was textbook Laval. And Laval has told us before that once they get ahead, they don't play their opponent's game. And that was a perfect example of it. When Kentucky invaded the Shaman, they were just like, you can take this camp. You want the kill. You want to catch back up in experience. We're not going to give you that opportunity to do that. Just fantastic play from Laval. They're looking like they're going to be grand champion. They're grand finalists at least.
I think what we saw was Laval being Laval, but Kentucky has yet to find their identity in this best of 5. Can they do so? We're going to find out after this short break. Don't you go anywhere. We're just getting started. Welcome back to the Heroes of the Dorm Heroic 4. We have just seen Laval go up 2-0 in his best of 5 over Kentucky. Scratch them. They are playing out of their minds. I'm Haloran, joined by Gillyweed and Dunk Train. The games that we've seen so far have been a prime example of the macro play that Laval can bring to the table. I said going into the break that we need Kentucky to find their identity in this best of 5 because right now they find themselves in something of a nightmare situation.
Absolutely. The 0-2 start. They have to be having flashbacks from last year. They know they need to take a breath. But this is the moment. It's always darkest before the dawn. Kentucky needs to find that within themselves and rally. Because if you can shift your mindset and swing the set around, that can be huge. It's just so tough to come back from this sort of an opening, especially set 1 of the day. You're on stage. It's just there's so much pressure.
And remember, I mean, this is a team that has lost in the Heroic 4, not taking a game, like you said, Dunk, but it's also a team who lost to Laval. Laval's the only team that ever beat them in all of this Heroes of the Dorm. That time, they went 2-1 with them. They at least got the 1 game. But even then, it was on Brax's Holdout, kind of an unconventional map. Laval went as far as to call it cheese. They cheesed us, and that's where they got that win. So for Kentucky, everything has to be going through their minds now as they're 1 game away from losing in the Heroic 4 again.
For Kentucky, this has to be so much more than just Heroes of the Storm. Anytime we would see a team fight go into the favor of Laval, all I can think of, Gilly, was the conversation Mike and Roger had in that driveway. Roger said, if I'm doing this again, we're going all the way. So they need to find that fire, that drive, the charisma we've seen from them all tournament to turn this around. I think they're more than capable of doing it, but they need to believe in themselves that they can.
Their drafting has been pretty rigid. The Malfurion first pick both times. Getting Johanna, they changed it up to ETC. They said they can pick the better team fighting compositions, and especially that last game, I don't feel like that was the case. I think it's time for a big change-up.
I agree. I think Kentucky needs to absolutely change it up. Just take all the pressure off yourselves. Say, look, guys, we're going into game 3. We could lose here, but let's just play our game. Ignore what Laval is trying to do and just do your own thing. Just take a breath. It's what you have to do in order to come back here.
You got to let it all hang out. Win or go home right now. Game number 3 is going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen, a battleground that I do think can go into favor of Kentucky for their calculated aggression. If they get those rotations, if they go for a front line where they can get a successful engagement, they'll be able to get the early takedown like they did last time, further capitalize on that, and keep that macro pressure going.
Absolutely. The snowball potential here on Tomb of the Spider Queen is something that Kentucky can look for. If they come out of the gate swinging, they get that early pick. On Infernal Shrines, Laval could sit back. They could macro back up and get back in the game. On Tomb of the Spider Queen, you give up an early pick, an early turn in, that can be lights out if Kentucky puts the pressure on. So they're going to need to come into this game swinging. They had the opportunity in game 1 and game 2, but this is their last chance to turn it around.
But if that first Web Weaver phase, if the first couple of Web Weaver phase do not go in favor of Kentucky, the snowball could just as likely happen for Laval. And guys, Laval has not lost on Tomb of the Spider Queen, all of Heroes of the Dorm. If ever you're going to make the comeback happen, I guess it starts here, but it's going to be hard.
Yeah, that is going to be an uphill battle, to say the very least. The draft is ready for game number 3. Tomb of the Spider Queen, potentially the last game for Kentucky in the 2018 Heroes of the Dorm. They need to dig deep. They need to find a strategy that works. Dunk, you and I were talking about in the last game, we need to see Kentucky use a strategy of death by 1,000 cuts, which runs very counterintuitive to the aggressive style they like to play, but they need to get 1 takedown and back away. Get a fort wall, back away. They're not really used to doing that, but that's what I feel they need to do against a team like Laval.
I agree. We saw how when they overextended a little bit in game 1, Laval was there to punish them. So that is going to be the theme of these games. Can Kentucky be aggressive enough to get value, but then back off in time to not get punished? And this is an excellent change-up to the drafting pattern so far for Kentucky.
Now, does Laval take the bait of taking that Malfurion away? They get Diablo, and they do get Malfurion, so they're saying, obviously Malfurion was enough of a priority for you that you first picked them 2 games in a row. You are not going to be allowed to have Hanzo with that Malfurion peekaboo. You have to play something else.
If I'm Kentucky, I'm loving the way this draft is going. You shake things up, you take the Hanzo that's been a huge enabler for Laval, and yeah, you're staring down the barrel of a Malfurion, but in their own hands, I didn't see a meaningful Twilight Dream. I didn't see Tranquility net much, if any, value, and you're also not going to be dealing with Stukov this game, because every 12 seconds, somebody's keyboard was off on the side of Kentucky. I would not want to worry about that.
And additionally, I think one thing that's interesting here is Laval has now adapted to their opponent's draft
Right.
for the first time.
I was thinking that too.
So Laval has now been forced to respond because Kentucky changed something up in first pick, and they're picking Malfurion, who hasn't been their highest priority. So now we get to see them actually shift it up a little.
Right, and they took Diablo away because they don't want to give that strong Diablo-Hanzo synergy over to Kentucky because it worked out pretty well for Laval in the last game.
Yeah, I would say so. Mouthfeel was going to show up. That's a surprise to me. I'm going to call Mouthfeel Dave McFly because he pretty much vanished off the map in the picture of the meta. But here he is. He's back again. Uther is going to be the ban, so I think Laval is trying to force Kentucky onto the Stukov. They must feel confident in their ability to play around that kind of disengagement because Uther's off the board.
The Uther ban is interesting here from Laval. They're saying that we don't think Kentucky can play Stukov like we can. We don't think Kentucky's going to be able to bring that to the table. Genji and Jaina.
I had a feeling it was going to be that Jaina.
It makes up for all the wave clear deficit. I
Right.
think that's really
Yeah.
important.
And strong kill potential with that Diablo Malfurion and the Jaina too. Sometimes, I think it is Wuka, but regardless, sometimes you'll see some Jaina players also function as a pseudo solo laner when some of the other rotations are going around, which allows Laval to be pretty fluid, especially having that Genji too. There's just a lot of kill potential in general with those 4 heroes they have.
I'll say this. I might have to go out on a limb, but I feel like Kentucky needs to take Tassadar right now. Because if Tassadar rounds out the composition for Laval, we saw Gul'dan disappear last game. You add Blizzard, you add Ring of Frost on top of that, anytime you're out of position, you're gone. So leaving that option on the board, I don't know how much Tassadar they play, but if they leave that out there, they could be... Okay, they did go for double support, I guess.
That is just an extremely unusual draft here. So Kentucky has opted for the hard into support. That's support and a half, we call it a lot of times. But the pure double support from Rhaegar Stukov is just a completely different dimension.
Well, I was going to say Rhaegar can be quite a serviceable solo laner, but against Ragnaros, he had a pretty rough time. In the hands of Laval, I really like the Ragnaros pick because Lava Wave, Trixler, hey, how's it going? He's happy to see that. The macro play that Laval really loves to play is only further emboldened by that heroic. And in the instance where we do see Kentucky potentially come away with a set of Web Weavers, Molten Core is definitely going to slow down the advance. So I love that choice for them.
Yes, any opportunity for the Web Weavers, because Kentucky's going to get 1 to 2. Like, it's very rare that a team doesn't get any turn-ins at all. That's going to be stopped now by a Molten Core, or at least slowed down from how much experience you get. So any hope of either getting ahead in experience for Kentucky, making sure that they're the ones that are ahead of Laval for once, or keeping up with them is going to be a lot harder.
Well, my concern is that the double support comp is not great at finding those initial pickoffs, especially with Johanna as your frontliner. You just don't have the snap, hard CC, and follow-up. So I don't see where Kentucky is going to find an opening to actually get ahead against Laval.
I'm extremely conflicted about the composition that Kentucky's managed to put together. The double support, like you said, Dunk, does not invite a lot of aggression. And in game 1, Johanna just never really set up a successful team fight. Everything weighs on the amount of value that Hanzo's going to be able to get in the backline. Can he get the Dragon Arrow to set up the Blessed Shield? If he's not able to do that, this could be a swift 3-0. But I really like the idea that they're going outside the norm. They believe in themselves. To me, that's a display of confidence.
It's clearly something that they prepared. So it's clearly what they believe is going to get them a win here in Tuam and take us to game 4.
Game number 3, we are ready to go. Kentucky, the crowd, we need your energy. And Bam, are you ready for game number 3?
I am ready. This is Kentucky's opportunity to come back in this source. This needs to be the time for them.
And they bring out the Battle Dog.
They bring out the fight dog.
They bring out Rhaegod to be their essentially melee assassin. It's a crazy old strategy. Give me some bloodlust. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. Enough talk. Let's get into game number 3. Let's hear you, Burbank. Make some noise.
All right, over on the left side is the boys in blue. It is Kentucky. Kwanzaa is going to be on the Rhaegar. We've got to change their Zab attack on the Malthael, Roger that on the Johanna, Peekaboo on the Stukov, and going on the Hanzo.
And over on the other side in the red, it is Laval, 1 game away from advancing to the finals. It is Earth on Ragnaros, Harry Blob on Malfurion, Electromad on Diablo, Wuka on Jaina, and Nesdit playing Genji.
So the Battle Dog is going to be played by Kwanzaa. So they've changed up a lot there.
they've made some decisions. They decided that game number 3 deserves only the very best that Kentucky has to offer, and apparently that's putting Kwanzaa on Rhaegar. This is the world we live in.
I like it from the aspect of being able to add in an interesting amount of wave clear. It gives you a bunch of rotation in the solo lane. You're going to have a lot of movement on the Rhaegar. The double healing is a possibility. And gimme that Bloodlust. It's not a heavy auto-attacking team. I mean, you get a little bit out of the Hanzo, but I just want to see Bloodlust because we never get to see it. And maybe they've got something hidden there.
I mean, I hope so. They've had the chance to go back, develop some strategies. They've had weeks to practice and prepare for this. Obviously, school has been a factor for these guys, but maybe this was the strat. They're like, you know what, when our back's against the wall, we need to pull it out. This is the time. Both of these teams practiced so much to take on these opponents. Kentucky, they're like, we prepped so hard for Laval, and Laval's like, put all of our energy into prepping for Kentucky. So both of these teams are going into this trying to do as much homework as possible. Kentucky, clearly they think this is what is going to take Laval totally off the deep end.
Well, it's an interesting strategy for Tomb of the Spider Queens because you're looking for wave clear opportunities. You're looking for ways to extend the team fights. Maybe they're hoping for a much longer game than we have seen so far because the early speed games, which normally would be their bread and butter, haven't worked out for them. And Laval, who's normally used to long-term games, have been kicking things up a notch.
I think one of the things for this really comes down to comfort. Is Kwanzaa comfortable on this Rhaegar? Obviously, we know, again, he is a huge playmaker for his squad, and he needs to feel comfortable on that hero so that he's not thinking about the mechanical things. All he's thinking about is how the rotations are forming, how these picks, how these initiations are starting off. That's where his head needs to be right now. But of course, I'm sure there is a lot going through his head at this stage of the game because, of course, if they lose one more game, they are gone.
They're starting things off well, though. This is a good amount of pressure. They use the power of the Rhaegar, using the Lightning Bond to be able to get themselves extra pressure onto that camp, be able to push themselves up onto this wall and start to eke out some initial experience. We haven't seen anybody make attempts on the turn-in, but they've already gotten down a little bit of pressure here. If they manage to get that first Web Weaver wave, we could see a clear play for the mid-fourth.
Yeah, that's really going to be a huge factor here. The jungle potential of Rhaegar, we know that he's so good at taking these mercenary camps. And of course, on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen, being able to just send one person back and do that is going to be able to give you a little bit of additional pressure elsewhere on the battleground here. Because so far we have Kentucky ahead in experience, and this is not something we're used to seeing. Normally, that is where Laval is at this stage in the game. But Kentucky's like, nah, we're going to come out of the gate swinging game number 3. We're going to take it to you.
It's been the speed of their rotations, how quickly they're moving around. Value in Johanna, but also being able to get the Lightning Bond out of Rhaegar. Those two on their own pretty much clears a wave.
That is really going to be it here, of course. So, I mean, looking at it now, I mean, of course, look at that Lightning Shield. It gets so much value here as they're putting into these rotations. And Johanna, we talk about how good she is at clearing the waves, and we know she's had such good value in these last matches of Heroes of the Dorm so far. Roger that clearly feels comfortable on this hero. So this is really what I'm looking for from Kentucky right now. They need to get ahead. They're going to look towards this turn-in. 44 gems already in their possession, but they haven't turned in a single one.
It's going to be difficult. Got Jaina who's going to be able to poke, Malfurion who's going to be able to poke. You have to worry about Electromad poking in the form of Diablo, which is a body slam. So there's more than one opportunity for Laval to be able to stop those. They are going to be able to trade in a bit of gems each. There are enough in the hands of Kentucky to be able to get the turn-in they need. They need to be able to set pace. They need to be able to get that first turn-in. So look to see some continued skirmishing in the next 2 minutes for whoever finds that advantage first, and probably someone's going to pull trigger around level 7.
That is really going to be the point that we are going to watch for here. Laval is going to have to play the role of goalkeeper here. But of course we know that as the Canadians, they are very comfortable sitting in net here as they are going to be patrolling these turn-in points. But Nesdip is getting poked down. It is going now on this Hanzo, putting in that pressure. So sort of a bit of a switcheroo here in game number 3. Normally that's been Laval's dominion here, getting the pressure in with that Hanzo. And only 8 gems remaining for the side of Kentucky. But it is Laval who gets that first turn-in in the top lane. Laval with first blood in the sense of at least a Web Weaver turn-in here in game number 3.
Yeah, it looked like it was rotational advantage for Kentucky. They got that massive turn-in from Zabatak, but Laval was ready for it. They were rotated into the top. Nobody could get up there to be able to stop them. First Web Weaver wave, see how much they're able to get. They've gotten a little bit of value on the bottom wall, but their siege potential isn't as good. If you're really using Jaina to be able to siege, you're losing the ability to be able to counter on the dive. Genji's not the greatest sieger either, where there's no Junkrat in this game. There's no Sylvanas in this game. So for the moment, they're going to have to get as much value as they can and be ready to punish Kentucky when Kentucky gets eager.
That is really going to be the point here. Laval is going to bait an overextension here, and looking, trying to do just that now already, but we do have the Silence getting a lot of value there. Nesdip getting chunked to start this off. That Lurking Arm getting so much value. And I said Laval's trying to bait them out, but nah, Laval's just taking a lot of damage, and Zabutak doing fairly well here, surviving, but of course, going up against Earth, and that solo lane, that is never going to be easy.
Yeah, he's going to be pressured for a pretty long time. Ragnaros is going to push the wave slightly faster. But Kentucky didn't give up any forts. They're basically there in experience, and Laval did not get a massive advantage. We do talk about how they're very good at being able to extend a lead continuously, pretty much every time they find the opportunity. Team with the Spider Queen is a little bit more difficult in the early stages of the game because there's so few things to do. You have to do those small number of things incredibly well to find that lead, and so far Kentucky has been keeping pace.
So far, Kentucky has been doing just that, and now they are going to be looking to get ahead as they get their own Web Weaver turn in here, moving towards level 10. If they can get a decent lead in terms of these structures, they are going to be looking at having a heroic tier advantage. That is going to be huge for them because they need to take this fight to Laval. They need to be the aggressors here in game number 3 if they have any hope of surviving in the Heroic 4. Source, this is all on the line for them.
They will find some experience advantage. Like, it is just the way it works on Tomb of the Spider Queen. They're going to use the Ragnaros pass to be able to get value out of the bottom lane, to be able to shut down the Web Weaver, force them to rotate to other places. And Kentucky will find 10. If Laval had been ready for it, they could have found a pick and then dived onto this. Instead, they're just going to clear the Web Weaver wave up in the top and the bottom. Question is how much more Kentucky can get off of this one push in the mid, because they can't give up the pressure.
It didn't happen in time, though. Kentucky just didn't quite get enough, and now level 10 is here. The Cleanse is going to pick, he's trying to escape right now, but the Dragon Blight is coming in. There's the initial pick there as well. That is Nesdip going off with that Dragon Blight. The Water Elemental is slowing them down, and that is Rush. That full retreat is the side of Kentucky is backing off. Electromags once more! Put the combo together and seal the deal. That is Earth with a beautiful smash.
Drops the hammer, and that's all that needs to be said. That timing, I actually didn't think Laval would find it. I didn't think they'd get the 10 before Kentucky could push in the waves fast enough, but being able to use the passive for Ragnaros in the bottom was enough to be able to slow them down that they didn't think they could stay. They couldn't find additional experience, and now we're looking at a return turn in. Roger flicks on the flashlight and says, I think you can wait a couple seconds to turn some of those in, but they get in about half. 55, it's only going to take a few more, and Laval, they don't get that much value on the first one, but they say you're not going to get value on your first Web Weaver wave either.
The Ragnaros was a huge factor there as well, and Kentucky just opting to give up that lane. The Molten Core was there, and like, that's fine, we'll give it up. We'll put all our eggs in this mid lane basket, but it was not enough. They did not get level 10 in time, but they're doing a great job right now of denying the turn-in of Laval. Roger, that is standing strong, not allowing Nesdip to get in those crucial gems, but it is Earth. He's doing so much work down here in the bottom lane. We sing his praises all the time. When he's allowed to sit alone in a lane, it is scary.
So Kentucky's still got a little bit of a window. There is no Dragon Blade for Genji. They could possibly be able to just force the members of Laval away within the next 10 to 15 seconds, but they have to feel really confident doing that. They're going to get a good turn in here from Zabutak in the bottom, unless Earth finds it, because Earth is just, as you said, been doing a lot of work, but he's just been very map aware to be able to continuously keep track of Zabutak. He's never let him get out of control, and now they put more pressure on him. Get a Shadow Charge, no value, but goodbye Hanzo!
Goodbye, Hanzo! That was it! Laval turning onto that, and in an instant, he was gone. Laval able to pull the trigger, and in that moment, your life flashes before your eyes.
No, Zabutak, no!
And Zabutak, oh, back into that. Oh, that is the root. That follow-up is there, and he is likely going to drop as well, surviving a little bit longer as well. But it is going to be the silence, the split going on there onto Nesdip. He's the target for the side of Kentucky. They're trying to turn, but it is the APOC as well. The shove actually helping Electromag out of that fight. Wuka now might be the target, but they're trying to turn. There's the arrow as well. But it is going to be Kentucky now in retreat. A nice save from Laval. They do not want to let them go. Roger, that is the target. The follow-up is there. And it is Kentucky. It is a rout right now.
It almost worked. They almost saved the gems, but then they felt confident. They felt both confident and a little desperate. They thought that was the only way they were going to be able to find another fight. They think they can put pressure onto Electromag. You get the max range arrow coming in to be able to put on a little bit more pressure from Hanzo, but it just wasn't enough in Kentucky. They really should have cut their losses the moment they got those gems.
They tried to find a bit of a fight. They realized we are so far behind. We need to try and rally in game number 3. But Laval is sitting so far ahead in this moment, and they're going to look to get its other objectives here as these Web Weavers just turn in. Level 13 is still not here for Kentucky, and Laval very smartly saying, We're just going to sit back, relax, reset, and this is the Laval we know.
And now the lead is substantial. It is a clear level. They may be able to just continue to find advantage when it comes to just being ahead on talent here. This is the way we've seen Laval operate pretty much throughout the entire tournament. It's just taken them a little bit while longer because Kentucky has been willing to scrap with them more than other teams. Kentucky, however, they're looking at a little bit of a desperation play. I don't think Rayman was seen on that minion wave, so they are going to be able to get this boss, and this should be a good opportunity for them to open up the map a little bit and relieve some pressure.
This is really what they need to do here as well. Laval is not aware of this. Kentucky has the damage. They will get this in time. This is what they need to stem the bleeding here. Laval is not in position in time. However, they're getting pressure across the map on their own because they are pushing into a keep. This is what Kentucky needs to do, but they need to not lose anything in responses. The back is coming out now for Laval. This was a nice play from them.
I think they could have kept the push going a little bit longer. They could have at least made sure and guaranteed that they had forced members back. But Kentucky, they stall the game out a little bit. They get the boss. That'll give them some experience. They're able to get their 13 talent tier. But now the window is already closing. You have a limited amount of time before the side of Laval is going to be 16, and we are facing what is the same song for the third time of the 16 talent tier is where Laval finishes games.
I was going to say, is there an echo in here? Because I feel like Kentucky has been in this situation twice before. They need to force a fight before 16 is here for Laval. And they're going to be able to get a Web Weaver turn in. They need to convert off of this. They need to get a team fight. They need to get some kills. Their tournament life is on the line here. Laval is in the lead, looking so convincing. Kentucky needs to turn it on right now.
No one rolls a snowball downhill as well as a Canadian.
I can vouch for that.
So, at this point, I mean, how do you stop a snowball that's already rolling downhill? The only way you find opportunities to stop what Laval is doing is to find a key pick onto Nesdip or Wuka. Going after Harry Blob did not work in the last game. There is so much good protection and peel for him, and just ability to defend. They're used to people going after their support. So you are going to need to find multiple cross sections of angles from the arrow, from the massive shove, and ooh, that's a falling sword. How did I not realize that?
Yeah, we were not looking at that apparently because
That is how you do it. You falling sword and you get Wuka.
that is what Kentucky needs to do here. They are going all in game number 3. And it is Laval looking to post up, stand strong, because Kentucky really wasn't able to convert too much off of that. Level 16 is now here for the side of Laval. They are looking strong in game number 3. Electromad might look to initiate here in just a second, because Ragnaros, I should say. Either one, it's going to be the end of the world for Kentucky if they can't rally here in game number 3.
They've been looking for this middle fort the entire time. That's really what they've been trying to do. Get that middle fort, open up some rotational space, and get as much experience on the map as they possibly can. They stalled it out a little bit. They are closer to their 16. There hasn't been a lot of experience for Laval to be able to soak up. Putting pressure on Electromad. You're fighting this down 16. You better feel confident.
They do feel confident. They're going in the falling sword. Finding Wook in the backline is what they're trying to peel off this, but it's Johanna.
Nesdip!
Hanzo is going to drop. That is going to be Kwanzaa now in full retreat as Nesdip is tearing them apart. The Ginsu knife, as Haloran would say, is doing work. And that is Laval taking it. The ace to Kentucky, and that is all 5 members down.
There's going to be a turn-in. The timing, they will be back up. Kentucky will be back up before this game is over. They are going to have a desperation team fight on the core. But that was such a good turnaround because an arrow into the backline. You got that falling sword. You put pressure on Wuka. And you couldn't finish because Nesdip is cutting you to ribbons. The man is making sushi in the backline and serving it up to Kentucky.
They're serving it up fresh here in game number 3 because they want to carry this all the way to the grand finals. 18-16, 18-15, I should say. 16 is still not reached for the side of Kentucky. They will rally underneath their keep, but it is Laval in full control. The Web Weavers are pushing in the source. This is looking so bad for Kentucky.
They have an opportunity. The heroics are back up. But find 16, soak those waves, accept that this keep is going down like you didn't in the last game, and look for the defense on core. Web Weavers are not as strong as a lot of other objectives, and they are to put pressure into going.
They are going to try and put that pressure in. Wuka, the target for the side of Kentucky, he is backing up though. Roger that is standing strong. This Johanna, he's trying to make it work, but he is going to fall. They know they needed to commit, and Zabutak is just gone. Going is soon to follow, and they are pushing in onto the core. Kentucky is in full retreat, and this is going to be the La Université Laval pushing in onto the core, and with that, they will find it here in game number 3. They will find that GG, and they will take it all the way to the grand finals here for the Heroes of the Torm 2018. Give it up for Laval!
What we are witnessing right now is history in the making. Laval, a team that wanted to cement their legacy at their university, say that esports is a thing. They are not happy just being the first Canadian team to make it to the Heroic 4. Playing at that level, they want this entire tournament, and that was a very convincing performance.
Every aspect of Laval's play in that match versus Kentucky was good. Their drafting, phenomenal. Their play, their team fighting, their macro game, stellar. They look so good. And can Laval be the Heroes of the Dorm? C'est possible is what I say.
Well, the entire match felt like a highlight reel for Laval, but there's one play in particular, Dunk, that I know you want to talk about.
Absolutely. Laval played to their strengths in the whole set. And in this highlight, I want to highlight how important it was for them to wait level 16, and then they took the objective immediately. They waited for the moment to turn it around and found the fight. And that is the sort of decision-making and patience that only comes from hard work and a lot of practice, getting your whole team on the same page, calculating out, this is the exact game plan. You could see it in their eyes. They're like, look, we're gonna get 16, we're gonna hard flank, and we're gonna win the game. And that's exactly what they did.
Laval feels like a team that plays consistently 2 and 3 steps ahead. Dunk, you were absolutely right. At that point, it felt like a huge moment for the series and kind of told the entire story. Laval, with their patience, wait until they get to level 16. And their execution, Golden just stopped existing. That kind of burst damage is unreal, and no support's going to be able to respond to that. You're playing at such a high level of play, you're looking for the entire thing.
And for our Band of Brothers, Kentucky, it's an unfortunate loss now that they've been in the Heroic 4 twice, haven't been able to win a game. But they were more than willing to say, we're going to have to go up against Laval at some point. We always knew we would have to play Laval. So it doesn't matter if it's the Grand Finals. It doesn't matter if that's the Heroic 4. We have to beat them if we deserve to be the champions.
Let's hear from the team themselves, the first finalists here at the 2018 Heroes of the Dorm. Anna, how are you over there?
I'm having a great time. I'm here on stage with Earth, who has just moved with his team into the finals with a very convincing game. Our casters said you guys just felt calm and cool and collected. Behind the scenes, is that true? Were you?
Not really. We were really stressed before the match, but after the first win, it's kind of, get better.
Yeah, you got more calm and you used your skills. What do you think was the key to victory? What did your team do well here?
We stick to the plan. We just pick what we were expecting to do and follow the plan and follow what we're doing the best. And just stay calm, focus on the game, don't do mistakes, and just punish them.
And now you'll face either Cal Poly Pomona or Buffalo. Who do you think you will play, or who would you prefer to play?
I'd say it's going to be Pomona's, but who knows? Buffalo, they can upset anyone. Yeah.
That's true. And there are so many people here cheering for you. I know there are a lot of people back home cheering for you. The first Canadian team to be here in the Heroic 4. What do you want to say to all of the people who are here supporting you and rooting you on for Canada?
Thank you, and let's go, Canada.
Thanks so much. Casters, back to you.
Let's go, Canada, representing an entire nation, not just the school. Earth said going into that matchup, he felt a little bit of nerves. And he's a human being. Exactly. You're on the stage, high pressure situation. It's going to be tough. But in their play, they look cool, calm, and collected. I think that this is a championship caliber team. They are looking like the favorites right now.
They clearly showed that they could pick a game plan, stick to it, and play it well. And that's something that Earth mentioned is after that first game, they felt more calm. They brought out the Diablo, something we hadn't seen them play before, and then they absolutely crushed with it. They stuck to that game plan. So well done. And that's how you win a championship, is picking a game plan and executing it perfectly.
What really impressed me about Laval is that they were able to change things up. Going into this matchup, we really commented their ability to just play standard Heroes of the Storm. Rounding things out with a Zeratul to start out on game one, I think that sent a huge psychological message to Kentucky. They probably didn't expect something like that to show up, and it definitely flabbergasted them at almost any rotation Zeratul decided to show up. If you can shatter the enemy team's confidence like that and take them off their game, you can just go back to playing standard, because the next two compositions that they put together were pretty straightforward, and they just executed them flawlessly.
And how far does the bag of strategies go? What's left now for their final opponent in Heroes of the Dorm, be it CPP, Cal Poly Pomona, or Buffalo, which we'll find out in our next match.
Well, we might just see another legend in the making. We have two on the desk right now. Anna, how's it going over there with those guys, Fan and Michael Udall?
I am standing with Heroes of the Dorm legends, and you might recognize them already, but just in case the people at home don't recognize your faces, I'd love you to introduce yourselves. Tell the people at home who you are and why you're here.
Hey guys, I'm Fan. You might also know me as Fan. I'm Heroes of the Dorm 2015 winner, and I'm currently playing pro for Team Tempo Storm.
My name is Michael Udall. Also, Michael Udall, we're pretty creative. I'm really well known for being, 2015 runner-up. I was the team that Fan beat, but actually I won 2016, and I currently play professionally for Gale Force Esports.
So both of you, both of you moving into esports after Heroes of the Dorm. What's it like to come back here and see kind of this place where it began in a lot of ways for you guys?
Yeah, for me, it's really exciting. Heroes of the Dorm is really special, even though it's collegiate. When I first played it, I thought that it had every bit as much impact to me as BlizzCon did. Winning Heroes of the Dorm, just the crowd here just cheers so loudly. You can feel the stage kind of vibrate, and crowds cheering as far as the eye can see. It's just something truly special.
Has it been the same experience for you, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, Heroes of the Dorm holds like a really tender place in my heart. It was something that I would say really brought my family involved in esports, right? They all came and supported me when I played, and it really made them supportive of me, recognizing that this is a real thing. I can make a career out of this. So Heroes of the Dorm, it's the best. I love it.
The crowd loves you back. Now, guys, I know that one of the challenges that often young esports athletes face is either my family doesn't really get it or my school doesn't really know how to support me. What advice do you guys have as someone who's now kind of on the other side of that for the teams that might be saying, how do I get people to understand what I'm doing here?
I think just making it to the Final Four, which all of these teams have, is a huge help, because not only do you get to experience all of this, you get, your flight, hotel paid, travel to perhaps another state, and yeah, you get to go to this amazing event for free. You get, I think, a computer as well, and if you win, you get free college tuition. I mean, for the parents, there's no more needed than that, but the experience itself is amazing as well.
Absolutely, and I know you've worked with your school in the past, Mike. Do you have any additional advice?
I mean, I worked with A2 a little bit to help them build their esports program, but I mean, just telling your parents I can, win a scholarship, right? Like I can go to college paid for free because I played video games is, just like Fan said, you don't need to tell them any more than that.
Now tell us, kind of pull back the curtain, because we're all watching these players up there looking super pro, but I know that there's nerves, there's a lot of expectation. What advice would you have for them that'll help us understand what they might be going through right now?
Yeah, the nerves are actually so insane. Even if you've been to Heroes of the Dorm before, just being on the live stage and seeing the crowd. When I was first on there, I could not stop my hands from shaking the entire first set. And, watching these games, I was seeing a bit of the nerves. There's like perhaps a random force wall or a random spell thrown backwards every now and then. And it just goes to show like how nerve-wracking this can be. It's not something everyone can experience, playing, like knowing that you're the best among the best and competing in front of all these people cheering for you. I would say just focus in on the game. You're one of the best for a reason, and go from there.
How do you beat those nerves, Mike?
You don't. I mean, that's the thing, is the nerves are always going to be there. It's generally like the first minute, you're still kind of feeling the shakes, and then after the point, like you get down and, it's still just a monitor, and in front of your screen, you've played like thousands of games, just focusing on, it's just another game, right? Like even if it might be that final game for college tuition, just view it as just another game, just another, just routine, right? So I feel like that's the thing, but nerves are always there. You're always kind of getting the little jitters and feeling like the crowd shake. That's one of the coolest things.
It is really cool. Thank you guys so much for sharing in this with us. We will see you again during the awards ceremony. I can't wait. And thank you so much for sharing. We can't wait to see them play more esports in the future. But right now, we're going to wait for more Heroes of the Dorm right after this.
position where they feel comfortable.
Dab attack, you've made a mistake!
You have made a mistake going on Earth. Luka is there as well. Genji is joined the fray, so we do have that Void Prison going down, but Electromad is here. And there's the top, the fall.
Oh, that's late! And they throw it back in!
Peel, the Hardline coming in. Quads are both split trading 1-for-1 7 attacks. So gets a
They're so low!
Luka with the damage, the flank, the spin, the silence on Yugo going. Hanzo is going to drop. That is going to be Kwanzaa now in full retreat as Nesdip is tearing them apart. The Ginsu knife, as Haloran would say, is doing work.
Dorm Heroic 4, we just witnessed history in the making with Laval University becoming the first finalist, the first Canadian team to potentially call themselves Heroes of the Dorm, but they are going to have a tough matchup yet ahead. My name is Albert Lauren Haley III, here on the desk, Gillyweed Dunk Train. The next matchup, I'm really looking forward to this.
It's going to be awesome. We have two teams who are a little more unknown as far as looking over at Laval and Kentucky. You know, we look at Cal Poly Pomona. It's their first time in the Heroic 4. Buffalo, too, and Buffalo not expected at all to be here since they were in the same bracket as the #1 seed UC Irvine.
Yeah, nobody was looking at that bracket and putting their money on Buffalo going to at least I wasn't. That's for sure. So I have to say, Buffalo, I want to say they might earn the title of most improved, regardless of what happens here. Just going from that completely unknown spot, crushing the #1 seed. You have to give them credit for that, regardless of what happens.
Well, going into this match, I was like, what does Buffalo have to do to get the recognition of everyone watching the tournament? They took down the #1 seed, and it looks like that was the critical point. You look at the Pick'em Challenge numbers, 40% of everyone that tuned in said that they want Buffalo to come out on top. They went from being a near nobody to being the favorite in this entire tournament. I really want to see how they play.
My answer to that question is play how you played in the last couple of rounds, especially the round of 8. This is a team that can be very aggressive. They have the shortest average game time because they know when they need to get out there. They know when they need to take risks. And then they're going against the team with the longest average game time, a team who plays not to lose. So for that, for Cal Poly Pomona, they're also going to have to bring some more aggression in.
We saw in the last match, having comfort in how you play is going to be very important, as it's going to be for this matchup. Last match, we saw Laval take down Kentucky, scratch them in a 3-0 fashion. Now we got Buffalo, Cal Poly Pomona. Buffalo is a team that plays, in my opinion, with their heart on their sleeve. We saw them show up time and time again on their way to the Heroic 4. They just put up a steady, consistent performance, but you can really tell that they're playing with everything that they've got.
Absolutely. I mean, all the teams here, they're putting everything on the line. It all comes down to this. And this Saturday, any team can win. We saw Laval showed up and brought their game plan to the table. Now it's between Buffalo and Cal Poly Pomona. Who's going to challenge them in the finals? Both of these teams are 100% focused here.
We're about to see these teams